Hey guys, it's BlockchainBrad, and I am very honored to have a good friend of mine. It's Rong Chen. If you're not sure who he is, it's none other than the founder of Elastos, which is a very exciting company. Some big things are happening. Welcome so much to our channel, Rong. We're excited to have you on again.
Oh, thank you, Brad.
It's always a pleasure to have you. So, Rong, there's a big thing happening next week. Clearly, there's a sale happening with Elastos, and obviously you're focused on the technology. You're very busy in the camp of trying to work through that. But just for this one special privilege for all of the audience, can we just talk a bit about that sale? Firstly, can we talk about when that's happening, to your knowledge?
Well, we are going to have public crowdfunding starting in early January, and the exact date is first week of January. And we're going to close. I don't know, because we have to wait for the final decision, and definitely will close within January.
Right.
So looking for about a 2 weeks window.
Right, and just to help you out as well, Rong, fortunately because I'm so busy in social media, what they've actually done is there's a there's a website, obviously with Elastos, and they've posted the exact time. So if you go on, guys, onto the website, it'll give you information about the time frame, and it's at the moment it's around about 2 days from this moment in time. It'll change as it's posted, this video, but it's important that you do go there and have a look. Also, Rong, let's talk about the whitelisting. Let's talk about whitelist and registration. Do you know much about that in terms of how that's going to work?
Yeah, actually, we consulted with some U.S. law firms, lawyers, and to go through the legal process.
Right.
And also, we have to go through some KYC, because also there are regulations in China prohibiting ICOs. So yeah, we have to go through the legal process and
right,
and so on.
And Rong, it was great you mentioned that, because essentially, obviously, being an advocate for the Neo ecosystem, it's exciting that you are going to open up your your blockchain and for investors in America, because what it means is that for the very first time in Neo's history, American or US citizens can actually participate, which is great, because they've wanted to be involved for a long time. Many of them have.
Sure.
So it's exciting that in the first week of January they're going to be able to do that. If we talk about the cap as well, just to make it clear, on your website, on the Telegram side, I was speaking with some of the administrators of that, and they've been making it very clear that there's two numbers that are being thrown out in the Telegram. And I appreciate you're so busy with the tech, and probably aren't as involved with the numbers that of the cap, but they have posted that for an individual, for the sale coming up, it's 10 BTC, and for a business, it's 100 BTC. Do you know much about that, Rong? Or are you busy with the tech?
I heard those numbers, but let's wait for the final decision, because it's not final until we make the public announcement. After all, we have to consult with quite a few parties and make a final decision.
Right. So, guys, you've heard it from the boss of Elastos. Make sure you wait for the final information. But at this stage, if you do want to know more about those things, make sure you go to Telegram. It's one of the best locations to better understand exactly what the facts are with Elastos. So, Rong, if we talk about participation, we've made it clear that the Americans, the US, can participate. But is there any way for anyone in China to participate? Or is that completely off limits?
First of all, we have done a private crowdfunding in China in August. At this point, we are more interested in looking for overseas participants, especially developers and institutions who is really interested in the next generation of internet, with the system software, with the ecosystems of the web, right? We are actually trying to expand Elastos projects to the world. So that's why we're doing this crowdfunding overseas.
Right. And Ron, I have to ask you this, because obviously I get an insight into the sentiment of people in Twitter and on Telegram and on YouTube. Many of them were quite upset, and I'll explain what I mean. They were concerned as a Western group that the initial release, the initial opportunities were only in China. So can you tell us a bit about why you did that way?
Well, I mean, the reason why first of all, the whole project, I mean, the Elastos project has been going on for almost 18 years now, right? Going on because in a few days, we'll be in 2018, which will make the Elastos the 18 years old.
Amazing.
And but we only started this new Elastos Foundation 3-4 months ago. At that point, I mean, for Chinese communities are very enthusiastic about Bitcoins. They've done so much with the mining, and a lot of people have Bitcoins in their hands. They're interested in finding new projects. And my partner, Han Feng, he happened to be one of the early pioneers in those early Bitcoin mining community. And so he has connections. He also a guy with a lot of Bitcoins in his hand, right?
Right, okay.
So that's why we did this crowdfunding in China to start with. But for me, for the past many years, I dreamed of, right, to have international developers and, as I said, the communities of the web, the development startups, to participate, to work together on the Elastos project.
Right, and Rong, just to be clear, you made it really clear why you started in China, because obviously you're based in Shanghai, you're based in China. But let's just talk about the price for a moment, because it's something that all the communities do want me to ask. The price difference between the amount that people paid in China for the initial pre-sale is different to the price that's being offered now. Is there a reason why that is?
Basically, that's also the reason why it's 1 Bitcoin to 800 ELA. Actually, we had, because this Elastos Foundation thing right now, we're doing it at a decentralized organization, which, I mean, I'm not the CEO of the foundation, right? Because we don't have a CEO. We consult with the community, and we do have community leaders. They vote themselves, right? Mm-hmm. And so we negotiate, and we have meetings, and we give out our reasons. They give out their reasons. I mean, for the investors, for the future investors, for the developers, for the Elastos Organization Foundation, right? Because all parties participated. We've done surveys, we've done some research, and so that's pretty much the number we finally agreed upon for the community, not just for us, for me to decide. It's for the community. And comparing to the initial private crowdfunding in China, which was started with 1 Bitcoin to 1,000 ELA.
Yes.
And we didn't do ICO, so we do everything like actually in China that was in a fixed range. It's not a fixed price.
Okay.
We have a range only, like flexibility of like 1,000, between 1,000 to 2,000. That's
okay.
what's the range we gave in about August 15th. Then we end up, because we meet our goal in an hour. And so basically we started with 1 to 2,000, and in an hour we reached the goal. Then people beating it up, and after they reach the top limit of 1 to 1,000, we stop there. Right. And so we give everything 1 to 1,000 and continue on for about 10 days or so, and for about a week or 2 to 10 days.
Right. And Ron.
And later on we gave. After we negotiated with the community, with everyone, we also give some bounty program, ELA coins rewards to the initial investors, because to make it 1 to 1,500.
I see.
And the reason why, if you compute considering 1 Bitcoin to 1,500 versus 1 Bitcoin to 800, actually it's almost doubled, right? It's 80% more expensive now.
Yes.
Versus, let's say, trade BTC being the standard, right? Because BTC has gone up so much for the past 4 months.
Yes.
So, I mean, BTC-wise, we're about 87% more expensive. The reason being, at that point, we talked previously, for the Elastos projects, for our engineers, for me especially, I'm no Bitcoin expert. I'm no blockchain expert. So at that point, we really didn't know who is going to develop the public chain for us, which is a big, big risk, right?
Right.
Think back. I mean, only we're talking about 3 months, 4 months, even though, people thought, I mean, only 3 months. But in the 3-4 months, without having much knowledge of development of Bitcoin, right? I know what the Bitcoin is, I know a little bit of the technology, of the theory behind it, but we don't really have the code. We don't have the engineers.
Right.
And but then 3 months later, right? And now last week, December 22nd, our Genesis block has been generated. Our heartbeat is ticking. And so actually the baby is born, and which has released a tremendous risk. But to me, the web, the virtual machine, right, the dApps, which we have very, very high confidence, even though to a lot of blockchain community, right, people talk about dApps.
Right.
The reason why I jump into this new opportunity, new tidal wave,
Yes,
is because I feel confident that we know dApps, we know apps,
right,
more than most of the people in the blockchain world, right? For the startups in the blockchain or smart contracts, people talking about dApps.
right.
The dApps we are talking about is definitely on a different scale.
Yes, and now it's clear. It's so exciting with the genesis of your blockchain. It's now live. It's now existent in the blockchain, and it's developing. But let's talk about the cost of maintaining. Is the reason why the costs are what they are so that you can build the infrastructure for the long term? Do you use these ELA not to support development, to support engineers, to support future involvement in the technology?
Yes, the reason why we did the overseas crowdfunding is not it's mainly for expanding the effort into the international community,
right,
especially the development. Because for the past 40 some years, the internet was invented overseas, right? It's not invented in China.
right.
And the operating systems, the system software, the open source movement, they are all heralded in by the international community.
Right.
So at this point on, we desperately looking for the international developers, the international investors, startup companies, and helpers, right? Like you, the media to spread the information around. So those we are doing this public crowdfunding just for that reason, to reward not only getting the fans or investors to participate, to have opportunity to take part, but also with the money we're going to reward back into the overseas development community.
Wow, that's really exciting. So a bounty program, essentially.
Yes, we are going to reward startups based on Elastos. Basically, we're building a peer-to-peer platform, a new web. We call it Smart Web, the web that runs apps,
right.
the web that runs dApps.
Exactly.
And so we're going to whoever helps us to improve the features, the efficiency, and doing startups, doing the development work. And so definitely we're going to reward the communities there.
That's exciting. And Rong, obviously there are a small group of people in every group that always are sort of the red flag wavers, or the ones that are trying to create some sort of negative sentiment. In this case, the sentiment is often to do, as we talked about, the cost. So what would you say as a bit of advice to those people who are saying it's just too expensive?
Well, since see how many ELAs we're going to issue altogether, the total number would be 33 million,
right.
which is twice as much as the BTC has mined so far, right? And we are about, not even, because the total amount of BTC is about 21 million and
Correct.
we're 33 million. So we're about 20 or 50% more than BTC per se.
Right, and sorry to interrupt. And Ron, I just want to explain that to the listeners. At the moment, obviously, there are many different projects coming out, and many of them have hundreds of millions, if not sometimes billions, of tokens. So I really wanted to stop you there for a moment because that's a really significant thing for Elastos. It's an exciting thing. 33 million is extremely scarce. It means that the potential for value is very strong, even though it's 50% of Bitcoin. That's a big deal. So please go on.
Yeah, because when we did the initial crowdfunding in China, I at least thought about it a little bit, because we are about at that time, as I said, 1 BTC to 1,000 ELA. So we're about 1,000th, right, of a BTC valuation, and what we're talking about is we're doing a project of revolutionize or reinvent the web as what it is. And we need a currency for this new web economy, smart economy, to do peer-to-peer digital asset trading. And so we need that. We need a money to support the trading. And given it's only like 1,000th of BTC, we feel we should have a room for growth. And even though we are like maybe 1 times more expensive, but I should warn people we should be conservative, and shouldn't people expect we can ELA can go up 10 times next year.
To the moon.
Definitely don't think about it. But we do feel given 1,000th of a BTC, the valuation, we should feel confident at least we'll be there for
the long term
with the fundamental, right? And,
exactly, and your fundamentals are very strong. That's clear. Mm-hmm. And the other thing I wanted to really discuss with you, Rong, is that many people, they often do that comparison because you involved with merge mining through Bitmain. We'll talk about that, and you are a POW model yourself as your own public blockchain. There's many reasons why we can liken you to BTC, because in some respects you are a cousin of BTC by design. But the thing that sets you apart very quickly is that you aren't just a store of value. Because you have the facility design to be able to support real projects in the real world, potentially in the future, that's where the revolution is for you, very strongly. You've also partnered, indirectly through on-chain, very important trust networks there, very important enterprise networks there. But again, let's move back to the business. You're potentially going to set up a system where you're going to have apps that have real context, utilize your blockchain. And given that you are also only 33 million, you are a very scarce coin, you're a proof of work, that's a proven protocol already. This sets up a precedent we've never seen. We have never seen anything like this in terms of possible value for the long term in real world business. Let's forget about immediate short-term moonshots. In the real world of what you're doing for business, it is significant, not just now, but several years down the track. Given you are doing this very sensibly, what do you think about that?
Well, first of all, before we talk about down the track, we have, because you keep talking about Neo and on-chain, because that's one of, Da Hongfei is one of our angel investor.
Yes.
And definitely Neo is one of our critical partner. But we have another very, very important partner is Bitmain of China.
Yes.
No, not really China, Bitmain, right?
Yes.
They were just based in China.
Exactly.
And Wu Jihan actually is another angel investor.
Yes.
And so we are actually building something like merge mining, because we have our own ledger, we have our own public chain. But on the other hand, we try to advocate, right? Because using these mining machines, not only for Bitcoin, we could encourage more people to do merge mining with the hash power, the electricity we burned in the world, right? then we can have a safer, secure internet for the world. And
Wow.
so that's a huge, huge statement
That is,
there.
and I think people don't understand how big that actually is. Also, Bitmain, people don't understand how powerful Bitmain is as a company. It is the largest mining company in the world, by far. And what is exciting is that there is a partnership you've established with the CEO of that company. And there's no question that he also is trying to make sure that he is profitable as well. And so what we're going to see,
Definitely.
we're going to see a very interesting alliance build just in the mining industry for you. And then again, we go back to the Neo connection. It's really with on-chain. That connection, as you've always said, the investment side is from Neo, but the business relationship is actually with on-chain. And that's going to become more clear. But if we move back to the sale, and we'll finish off the focus on that so people can become aware of all of your knowledge. If we talk about the wallet, for example, what's your advice with wallets in terms of those who want to participate in this sale? What should they do? What wallets are best for this process?
Right now, we only provide the web wallet at this point as a default, because we do have partners actively developing the mobile app wallet at this point.
Right.
So we're going to release in first quarter of the next year. Hopefully, by the time we go on exchange, we should have partners develop their mobile wallet announcement there.
So, Rong, is it easy for people to go and download the wallet? And how do they do that?
Right now, we have only the web wallet. You use browser to log into the websites and register your wallet, pretty much like other web wallet.
So it's quite easy for a novice.
Yes, and if it depends. If some people feel more comfortable with the mobile apps, but then because that's since we're an ecosystem, we encourage our partners to do that for those multiple cryptocurrency wallets. Not only they support like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Neo, they could also support ELA. So we don't feel we should develop a mobile wallet supporting only ELA, right? We should have we should let people to have a choice.
That makes a lot of sense.
So we provide the website, those web wallet ourselves, and we're also updating it. Very likely to be today. Definitely by the end of this year. We only have 2 days left, right?
I see.
A day,
yes.
2 days left.
And
tomorrow, we only have tomorrow left.
Right.
And we're going to have HTTPS with the SSL built in. We have a new wallet update because, after all, our Genesis block was last week, as I mentioned. We definitely ask people's patience, right? Because this is definitely a brand new public chain of the world.
Yes.
And with partnership with Bitmain of China, we're going to have a public trial period for the whole 2018, and by pretty much the same date,
next year.
By the end of next year, right, we're going to have anybody could buy a mining machine and mine Elastos coin. By that point, we are going to have 50% of Bitmain, at least the Bitcoin hash power to hash.
Yes.
Elastos coin as well.
And that
so we're talking about 50% of Bitcoin hash power hashing ELA, right? Which is really, really a huge statement saying we do have the confidence that we are a trustworthy public chain.
Yes,
to everyone in the world.
And to let everyone know, what Ron's saying is that he's talking about that globally. Is that correct, Ron? Is that hashing power is 50% of the global capacity?
Global Bitcoin capacity, right?
Yes. And so I wanted to talk to you about that because this is something that we really need to unpack. In that, with that hashing power, it's clear that there's a plan through Jihan Wu and yourself to try and expand the capacity, have multiple ledgers, so that it's not just BTC that benefit. Obviously, we have other BTC-related blockchains. Obviously, one of them we'll just name is Bitcoin Cash. So these kinds of related blockchains, obviously, they are relevant to Jihan Wu, who is the angel investor. Are you looking also at trying to support not just BTC in that respect?
I mean, we are going to support the web, because the smart web, we treat the smart web as a new platform, which is, we think of it as a decentralized operating system, right? Because on top of it, we run dApps. And that said, the web not only support the IDs or digital assets issued by our own ledger, the Elastos ledger, Elastos chain. We're also going to support other public chains. Whoever's say, it's very much like we have a mobile network of the world, and some IDs are issued by AT&T.
Yes.
Some IDs are issued by China Mobile, and some IDs are issued by like Orange of Europe, right?
Right.
And but still, it won't affect us. We can call each other, right? That's the decentralized way. If you look at the Americans, they're still using email, right? Because the reason why they use email is because we could use Outlook, Microsoft, Gmail from Google, or iPhone's Apple email, and yet it won't affect us from talking to each other and chat with each other. And that's the world we're looking forward to, right?
Right.
But on the other hand, if you see the internet, which is not going that direction in the past, going towards the Facebook, going towards WeChat, right? So they are basically different territories, right? They don't talk to each other. They talk within themselves.
Right.
They start to isolate the internet instead of collaborating of the internet.
I see.
So that's why we are going to build a new decentralized smart web, which will let everyone in the world be able to have a chance to launch their own startup on this web, yet they talk to each other, right? Whether they're different IDs, and then they can talk.
Right. So essentially, just so everyone knows, even though we will talk about this more in detail in a different video, you're agnostic in that you're not focused on one particular blockchain, you're not focused on one particular business relationship. You're agnostic in the sense that it's a platform. And it's designed to be accessible for its growth. So businesses, platforms, and apps can all utilize this in a very fair way.
Correct, because we're going to be 100% open source, right?
Exactly.
And a lot of our code actually was from the open source projects of the world. So we're going to repay the world, right? Giving them all back.
So exciting that you're doing that. I mean, it just shows the benevolent structure of decentralized open source systems. It's about helping people who normally don't get support as a user to be creative, to get some sort of revenue or get some sort of reward. So we commend you for all the things you've done in these 17 years, and we're excited about the 18th, Ron. If we want, just with regard to your white paper, this is something that came up a lot if we refocus back into the token, is that there's an airdrop. There's suggestions that there'd be some sort of airdrop with BTC, explaining that through, do you understand what I mean? And can you talk a little bit about that?
We actually, on the white paper, we encourage exchanges over the world to list ELA on their exchange. So the reward, the bounty is that if they list us, then whoever has the Bitcoin with their going through their exchange could get a 1 BTC. With 1 BTC, they could get 1 ELA.
Right.
Airdropped.
And is that still anticipated to happen, or do you have not?
Yes.
I see.
We are going to the first exchange. We have already signed up the agreement with the first exchange, which will go on live February 1st.
Okay, well, that's exciting.
So then whoever has a Bitcoin with that exchange will get ELA from that exchange.
And Ron, I have to ask you this. Will you give us a hint before that happens at some point of what exchange that is?
There are people rumor about it on the internet, so people should be able to find it out.
Okay, well that's good. I'll definitely be digging into that one. So I think we've covered so much about that to alleviate some of the concerns. I want to thank you sincerely, Ron, for making sure people before this happens in January 1 that they understand. I'll post this very soon. But on behalf of all the people who are considering Elastos, I'd like to thank you for not just being involved in blockchain, but for developing a technology right from the time when you were working on the kernels right through to now, to do something that's potentially going to change the business models for the future. So again, I always appreciate your time. Very smart man.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.